Welcome to another episode of Driving to the Res with your favorite hosts, Larry and Inelia.
And Phoebe.
Oh yes, and Phoebe, definitely Phoebe.
You will hear Phoebe.
We will.
She's on guard duty.
Yeah, she is.
There are suspicious leaves.
Yes, and trees and grass. Don't forget the grass.
Occasionally a fern.
Yes.
And there might be a ewe. She saw you walking.
Yes.
But you were a monster.
Yes. And you too.
Yes, I'm sure. There was just a bird over there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she gets a little bit, what's the word? It's on guard.
Yeah,
it's not the same as fearful.
No, she's
on
duty.
Guard.
She's on duty.
On duty. She is alert.
Yeah, because there's no other dogs here, so she has to be the one on duty.
Do you remember her past life picture?
Oh, that was cute, yeah.
I don't know if I shared it or not on Talk With Me Now, but I probably will.
Mm-hmm.
Her past life, I'm pretty sure she was a he, though.
Yeah, that was a he.
And was in a war.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a little guard dog in the foxholes.
Yep.
Traveled all over with soldier boys.
Yeah.
And she saved their lives multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Because she was on guard.
Yeah.
And, I think she saved a platoon of them too because they were buried.
Yeah.
And she found the path out.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so she's a hero, basically.
Yep, she totally is.
Well, right now she's a bit...
On guard.
On guard. I think the leaves are going to be fine, Phoebe.
Yeah, she has to keep an eye on them. She has to keep an eye on those leaves.
If you were here looking, you would be going like, oh my gosh, what is it, Phoebe? What is it? What is it? It makes you look out the window every, 10 seconds.
And she goes, oh. Sometimes she lifts her little back legs up and she's like in her front legs only because she's so focused.
She's sitting there like a little lemming or whatever those marmots or
when the back
prairie
legs,
dogs, a prairie dog. She'll sit there like a prairie dog and look around.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it?
When she sits on her back legs and lifts her front. But sometimes she stands on her front legs and lifts her back legs when she's really focused on something. It's really funny. What are we talking about today, honey?
Well, we were talking about Phoebe being on guard, and I think that's reasonable energy to have because your newsletter you released today puts a person on guard, I think.
You think? Why? Why is it puts a person on guard?
Well, because it's interesting to not discover, but not really investigate, but dig into a little bit the difference between being on guard and being afraid or fear.
Oh yeah, it's a huge difference between the two.
Right.
There's alert, focused.
There's alert and aware and knowing.
Aware, knowing.
Prepared.
Uh-huh.
And another one is,
fearful. Afraid of everything.
Paralyzed often, or in panic, or in reaction. Right?
Reaction, yeah. Feeling pressured.
So fear...
Yeah. Of something.
Processed fear can generate a state of guard. On guard, but not afraid.
Right.
But,
not afraid, but...
got the message, hey... Your spidey senses are out, right?
Yeah.
Be alert.
Be alert.
And alert is on guard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, we understand there's a difference between the two. One's very low frequency.
Yes.
And one is...
Street smart.
Street smart. It's important to be street smart sometimes.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Something, one of the things that was interesting to me today, and I think it's related because of what we're going to talk about, being on guard, but also the feeling of I'm done with this stuff and I want to leave and all that type of feeling that the newsletter talks about. But we were listening today to a lady who works with several groups of channelers and remote viewers to explore things. And she was talking about a research that somebody else had done where he had, I can't remember how many people, but
hundreds, I think.
Hundreds or even thousands of people. To look at 2050 and see what it looked like.
Give their impressions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Give their impressions of what 2050 looked like. And they came back with a lot of information and data. And some of it felt to me that depending on the person, how that data could be interpreted, right? Because the person will often translate what they see into their own reality construct and what they think is right or not right, right?
Right.
So one of the items was, the world is not
the world's not overpopulated.
Yeah, it's not overpopulated. And one person might think, oh my God, there must have been a terrible thing, killed most of humanity. But another person might think, oh, we figured it out, and now everything's nice, And some of the things that they saw was a decentralized system.
Decentralized energy system.
Energy systems.
Free energy.
Yeah, free energy. And also that the United States didn't exist anymore, right. As we know it.
The United States didn't exist as we see it today.
Like the legal entity of the United States did not exist. But the land, of course, did.
Right. It's not like the land was sunk. It's just the government didn't exist like it is.
Nation state didn't exist. Which is interesting to me because the descriptions that most of the people had consensus on felt like the new paradigm, right? Because they had no sickness, for example, right? Because medicine was actually there to support people and not to make them sick. That type of thing, right?
It's just crazy how these systems got so gigantic and hijacked to create the opposite of what they say they're to create.
Therefore,
and how they trap. It's basically light worker traps, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because most of them, believe through their, I guess,
culture and
training and
social programming
that what they're doing is the best.
Totally.
Because they were told it by an authority.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that is an authority they trust.
That's right. Yep.
And if they question it, then they begin to will begin to question everything that they believe.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If they're lying about this, what else are they lying about?
Exactly.
Pretty soon, that's a pretty big rabbit hole.
Yes, it is.
So,
she saw another leaf. Oh. I'm pretty sure that's that third tree to the left.
Did it move, Tweety?
Yeah, I think some
Did
of
it
the
grow taller?
moving.
Is it taller? She's looking at us like, don't you guys see it? Don't you guys see it?
Yeah.
It's right there.
It moved.
Yeah, so back to the newsletter, the theme of which is...
You don't remember?
It just vanished.
It vanished from your head.
Let's see. I am
done.
Done
with this BS, which is
I'm done with this BS. I'm done with this BS. I'm totally done with this BS.
Yes, that's the theme of the newsletter, and the energy that's being propagated by the negative, the negative followers of the planet.
They're done with waiting for these people to get their dang shot. Just get your dang shot already. I'm done with it, right? Depends on depends on how they interpret that.
Yeah, it depends on the person how that feeling
message comes and what it triggers.
Some people get thoughts of suicide when they never have had them. Some other people just are done with their work. Sometimes they're done with their marriage, or they're done with their kids, or they're done with their pets, or they're done with where they live. Just so varied. But the energy is, I'm done. That's it.
That's it.
I'm done with this. That's the energy.
Why would the done with it energy be significant?
Because it brings a level of dissonance and a lot of suicides into the planet. I have read about that. And also, people who are on their health is compromised, they will get extremely sick and die. Because the only thing that keeps them going if their physical bodies are compromised is their spirit of life, their life force. But when you feel that huge energy of I'm done, then you fall for the sicknesses. You become vulnerable to them.
Remember, we were listening to Cliff. He was talking about his dying when he was done.
Oh, Cliff High, yes, yeah.
I'm done. He died 3 times, but the most recent time from cancer, I think it was bowel cancer.
I think so, because most of his bowels were taken out and stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, he died, and he was like, "Oh, finally, this is nice." And then he got kicked back. get kicked out because
next thing
they use duty.
Yeah.
For him, they use duty. He's like, you're not done.
Oh, that was what we used on my physical body at birth.
Duty.
A lot of people fall for that.
Well, let's not call it fall for that, okay? Let's try to figure out a different word for that.
Okay, so my viewpoint is, can I say my viewpoint? And I'll know that it's a duty one, okay? And it is used, but it's used on purpose. Why? Because anybody who's listening to this,
yes,
and this information resonates for them,
yes,
it's because they were here on Earth at this time to hold high frequency, so that the dynamic and the matrix of the high frequency natural state of the human collective can be expressed here through them, right? Through them. And by giving up, or getting sick and dying, or committing suicide, or just pushing this, what's it called, button in their lives.
The sabotage button.
So, the sabotage button on their lives, creating a lot of low frequency stuff for themselves. By doing those things, they're not doing what they came here to do. And what's going to happen once you do that, and say for example you die, you go to the in between lives place, and you go, oh buggers, that was a big oopsie, right? Dang it, I failed. Because that's what it is. So if you are getting those energies and feelings, do not give them any energy. Do not feed those. Those are artificially there to make you give up so that you don't succeed in what you came here to do. Right? Yes, we could interpret that as duty, but it's actually your free will choice. That's why you're here. That's why you came here. That's why you know you've always been a bit different. That's why you know that certain things are happening on the planet are not compatible with you. That's why you know that you have to start creating and co-creating those new structures. Right? And if I say to you, well, all these, what that lady said, and the guy explored, and they did the study of 2050, how that world looks like is so different. And remember a couple of years ago, it was before the whole COVID thing came about, that we were driving towards the res. We were driving to the res.
As we are. As we tend to do.
We were driving to the res. And I spontaneously started looking into the future. Remember that? And I said to you, whoa, it looks like the roads are not looked after as much, but also there's no houses, like most of the houses are gone, right? There's not many houses. What's going on here? Remember that?
Yep.
And we couldn't figure it out, and I was scanning for people, and I couldn't find many. I mean, I found one or two, but I couldn't find. We were going through a town, and it's like there was nobody there, you know? And that was one of the visions, right?
Right.
And that was when I was scanning 50 years, 100 years, you know, I was doing that, 500 years, 1,000 years, and everything, the energy was very quiet for a long, long time, but it wasn't negative or post-apocalyptic or fearful. It was
just
quiet.
Few.
Yeah, and it was few, but it wasn't like nasty or anything. It was like quiet. Yeah. But it felt good. It didn't feel bad.
Kind of like top of the mountain was, where you got up there far enough that it was quiet for a little while. And
exactly.
like we go to, well, here at Fossil Beach, it's relatively quiet besides PB and. You know.
Well, the energetic quietness is different.
Is it?
Yes. This place is not quiet. It has a lot of radio waves and other types of waves and sonar things and satellites and all sorts of noise. There's a lot of noise in this land, but it's psychically quiet in that there's not many people for miles around. There's nobody, actually, unless there's somebody driving past on the road. There's not much psychic noise, but it is like waves and things, microwaves and other waves. It's very heavy with regards to that. But yeah, so, and the other vision that I've talked about in the past as well is when I lived in California. I lived in a house that was part of an HOA that had a clubhouse. And for years that I lived there, I would walk in a certain spot on on that clubhouse, which had 3 pools, large pools, and gyms, and all sorts of beautiful things. There was one spot where I used to walk towards the main entrance, where all of a sudden the entire place was empty. There was nobody there. And the place looked good, except for the windows were broken, and the curtains inside were flying in the wind into the yard, kind of flying into the wind like that. Mm-hmm. And I kept thinking every time that would appear to me, and it used to be most days, it was a lot, I would think to myself, what would create that? What would make that happen? So I would wonder to myself, what could happen on the planet that would take away most of the people of this estate? Because when I would be there, I would scan out to see, because the very first time I remember, I went, whoa, everybody's dead, right?
Yeah,
everybody's
the clubhouse
gone.
Was all broken windows and stuff.
Everybody's gone from Sacramento. Mm-hmm. So I would scan out, and then I would find that wasn't true. There was lots of people around, lots, but not as many as now. I mean, lots as in one in every 50 streets, something like that, right?
Right.
And it's a big city, so that's, relatively a lot of people. But I remember thinking, oh, wow. And all the supermarkets are full of food, and all these things, all the gas stations are full of gas, and there's still power. And, things were still working to a degree. But there was no, people would just, know what houses were abandoned. There was nobody living there, and you just go and take things from their cupboards and things to eat. You wouldn't go hungry, right? Even though there was no structure as such, there's not like what we know today. And
sort of an interim phase period type thing? Or?
Well, one of the things that I've always done, amazed me my entire life, I love traveling at night, because when I travel through a city and you can see all the lights are on, and you can really see the essence of the human creation, mm-hmm. and the human spirit, the creative spirit. And those locations would always fill me with amazement and awe, because they were so beautiful and so imaginative and full. It was pure creation. So humans are extremely resourceful, and the high frequency individuals are not fear-based. Those individuals are extremely caring. They organize themselves, right? They
when
organize
necessary,
themselves. Yeah. So they don't just make sure that one person is okay or themselves are okay. They make sure that everybody in their neighborhood or whatever that they can see are okay. This happens. This is what the natural thing is. This is what naturally, I've seen it happening, right?
Okay.
It's like when there used to be these massive earthquakes in Chile when I was little, everybody would gather together and make sure everybody had water, make sure everybody had food, and everybody was fine just after the earthquake. They would go out and make sure everybody was okay. And I remember after the tsunami in Japan, one of the newscasters said, wow, he said, when I was sent here to cover the inevitable riots and looting that would happen in the city, but all I see is people helping each other. He says, I don't understand, but this is the spirit that, it's obviously the human spirit. He was talking about it in the news, one of these main broadcasting stations. It's like, yeah, but he actually said it. I was sent here to cover the looting, and all I see is people helping each other, right?
Yeah.
So that is the natural humane state, the human state. And from those seeings, it's really important that you do not give up and that you do stay, right? And that you do become, a guard. Guard yourself from low-frequency engagements. Guard yourself from becoming righteous. Guard yourself from falling into fear, right? Guard yourself from falling for the script, right? Because that's not going to help you.
Yeah, and it's tempting. It makes you vulnerable, but it's so tempting.
It is, yeah. Have you found temptation? Did you give in to temptation, or what tempts you to get engaged in that low frequency stuff? Well,
I like I like to, I guess, go through my day unhindered, I suppose would be a good word. Unhindered.
Yeah.
Unhindered by unnecessary, in my eyes, restrictions.
Okay.
And the unhindered part, I try, not just try, but I do carry that energy of, I through here shall pass unhindered.
Mm-hmm. You mean your basic human right as a human being?
Yeah, basic human right.
Yeah, and the basic
I claim that basic human right.
Basic constitutional right as a citizen of the United States of America. You mean that? You claim those rights?
I claim those human right.
Yes.
The human right, yeah. I claim that human right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will exercise that. And there's a tinge of it, a tinge to it of, I dare you to challenge me, right?
Yes.
If I have that turned up too high, I will get challenged. If I don't, instead I'd get engaged with appreciation mostly.
Yeah.
Mostly appreciation. Mostly like, thank you for demonstrating, you know, that you're not afraid.
Yeah.
That seems to be what happens. But if you turn the knob up too high into dare you, you will get dared.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess you're emitting the challenge, right?
Of course, yeah.
Right.
It's a good creation.
So it's always surprising instead of I honestly haven't been. I think the last time I was challenged, I did an interesting experiment. I was at a gas station that we have been to in the past, and it is ran by mask nuts, I guess. Okay. They're just crazy about them, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like pleading on the door even. It's like, don't even think about it. You might make me lose my business. It's like terror. They're terrified. Yeah. So I just don't go there, you know? It's like, I'm not going to challenge you. I'm not going to go here. There's plenty of other choices, right? So recently, though, things had gone off, and then they turned the knob back on, right? You can feel it notching. But I haven't altered what I do and where I go. I just carry the unhindered energy, you know? And so I went there to get, because they have coffee always. And when I go to the other gas station, it's like sometimes they will, and sometimes they're too bored to make it, or I don't know, they clean it. It's called a nest. So this place has coffee, but the other place has better gas. Yeah. The other place, you can't even think about going in with no mask either. But they have good gas. So I just don't go in because I'm not going to get coffee there. Right. Because they don't have coffee. Right. So it kind of like, you know, it's not exactly unhindered.
Right, it's hindered.
It's hindered, but at the same time...
it's a violation of your constitutional rights and your international human rights.
And it sucks.
Yes.
So I decided not to, and I went to the place that had coffee, and I was sitting there getting my gas, and I looked over, and I saw these two younger girls go in, teenagers, or even a little younger. And I went with no mask. Came out with no mask, no problem. And I seen a cop, he went there, no mask, went in, come out, no mask. It's like, I guess they changed the rules or something. So I went in to get my coffee. I was going to go anyway. And I opened the door and I walk in and she said, I'm supposed to yell at you and tell you to put a mask on. I said, well, how about you just don't yell at me and let me go get my coffee and I'll go. She said, yeah, that's fine. She's like, just telling you what I was supposed to do. I'm not doing it. So.
It's a compromise, kind of.
It was an agreement. It was an orchestration even, you know? It's like, I'm coming here this time and I want my coffee and I'm not going to put you at risk. I'm just going to do my stuff. And it worked. It worked out fine. As a matter of fact, the whole day, there was no... I mean, I had to go through 10 layers of you must wear your mask. You're not allowed to go in here without wearing a mask. And I just walked in. And there wasn't anybody in there that cared negatively. Everyone there that was there started to turn into chin maskers, you know?
Chin maskers.
Yeah, masking their chin so their whiskers don't get cold, I guess. Fred and I were in, I think it was Fred and I were in one of the grocery stores, and I think it was Walmart actually. We're back there by the pickles or the coffee or something ridiculous, you know? And there's this guy back there with his mask at his mouth, and he saw us. He didn't have any, he threw his mask all around. He had his mask all the way around his throat. And he saw us, and he was so happy. Oh my God. He had to strike up a conversation, you know? And he is loud. Have you ever met those kind of people?
Oh, yeah.
When they talk, they're super
so
duper loud. It's
yeah.
like you can hear them on the other side of the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like everyone that we encountered was ebullient and happy.
Mm-hmm.
And appreciated the, in a sense, it's bravery, right? Yeah. Because it's difficult to go against what you believe, I think everyone else believes. But that's the thing that's, not for you. You don't have that. Most everyone else does.
Right. But the physical body does feel threatened when people feel threatening energies towards them or want to attack them, right?
Right.
And there are some nutters out there, so...
There are some, yeah. You have to be aware of it, for sure.
Yeah, of course.
You give them
Street smart.
Let them have their unhinderedness, and I'll have my unhinderedness, and how about we don't meet in the aisle?
Yeah.
You go that aisle, I go that aisle.
Exactly.
And, yeah. But that's going to change pretty soon.
Tell me about that change. I'm very interested to hear about it.
Well, the way things are right now is like the first stage of a fourth stage rocket or something, I guess.
Okay.
It's just turned on, as you said in your newsletter, with the I'm done energy, which is designed to dissolve the high frequency groups that have formed.
Mm-hmm.
Because the low frequency groups that have formed, the I'm done only strengthens them.
Because it's a low frequency energy.
Right. So they're done putting up with the high frequency. Mm-hmm. They're not done being a group. Mm-hmm. They're done putting up with whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those groups are going to be, I guess, more desperate to hold on to their reality in a sense. Yeah. So they're going to fight it, defend it stronger. Because we're not done, obviously.
Right.
We have our, what's it called, a dark winter or whatever.
A dark winter?
Yeah, that's what the low frequency guys like to
call it.
The low frequency plan is a dark winter.
Oh, okay.
And in your newsletter, when I read that, I see one of the biggest trigger points is the truth coming out. Mm-hmm. The truth of what those shots were for example.
Yeah.
What the whole agenda actually is. Mm-hmm. Coming out to be known by everyone.
Not just the awakened, but everyone.
Not just the awakened who conspiracy this and that, but everyone, including those who
completely
subscribe to the narrative that it is what it is, you know? It's a dangerous virus. It formed naturally from a bat in some place in China, and Christmas or spring last year, it traveled around the entire planet on an airplane or whatever, just like the movie. Mm-hmm. Duh, just like the movie. And everybody's going to die from it. Mm-hmm. And we have to quarantine, et cetera, shut everything down. Everyone is going to know what the real reason, I guess, and the real true nature of what's happening. And at one side you think, oh, the truth finally comes out, that's going to be great. But what's the consequence of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's when I got the information. That's the first thing I asked myself, why are you doing that? Why are you releasing the actual true nature of this action, this pandemic? And the response that I got for that question was, you know, the wave of energy, negative energy that this will create on the planet could break the entire split. It could break it. We could keep the planet, right?
Yeah.
With this wave of the betrayal.
Anguish, betrayal,
anguish,
anger,
desperation, because
nothing
broken
to lose,
broken
bodies.
Yeah.
Like, remember we were watching deaths. Yeah, all of those things coming, knowing they were intentional and purpose for a dark agenda, and they fell for it, and they were complicit in it.
And all the people who have literally murdered thousands upon thousands, even millions of people, thinking they were doing the right thing.
Which is called light work trap, classic light worker trap.
Yeah, light worker trap.
You think you're doing a good thing, but you're actually not.
Right, so how are they going to feel, right? So all that energy is going to be so strong that something's being fed with it, right? The matrix, it could crack. And yeah, it creates a crack, right? And what is a split but a crack in the matrix, right? Where the two pieces just fall apart from each other.
Gulp. So,
But for people who are staying in the high frequency, who are working in creating the new systems and are no longer dependent on the grid or whatever, or staying in a particular job, they have to get, fall for the vaccine or whatever.
Yeah.
All those individuals are going to be just fine. And that's the contrast, Of course we're going to feel sad about, and we're going to feel that wave, but you have to not feed it. If you don't feed those energies, like now, if you're feeling I'm done, very negatively, I'm done energy, if you don't feed it, but instead concentrate on your good works, on the creations, co-creations, creating new systems, investigating free energy and that type of stuff, it's not, that energy of I'm done is not going to affect you. Do you see?
Yeah, it's like running a marathon and giving up the last 10 steps because, I'm done.
If you feed it, if you feed that energy, then you're not going to succeed. You're going to be on the other side, right? And one of the keys to success, one of the powerful keys to success that I teach at Walk With Me now, with regards to manifestations, but also the stuff that you do in life, is that when you get to that point, when you get in your mind, you go, I'm not going to achieve this. I'm not going to be able to accomplish this. I'm not going to, finish my degree, or I'm not going to be able to have a house. I'm not going to ever find a partner. I'm not going to ever be happy. I'm not going to, add your bit there that you've been trying to manifest. The moment that you feel that, that's when you continue, right? Because that's what winners do. That's what people who succeed do. They go past the moment in the mind and the feeling of, I can't do this.
And they just do it.
They try again, but they consciously do it. Oh, I felt it. Okay, I'm close to the end, so I'm going to continue. Right. So now if you're feeling I'm done and you're feeling it strongly, you're close to the end of this. You're close.
Very,
so
very
don't
close.
give up.
Definitely
right?
don't
give up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll keep at it.
Yeah. I remember too, I can't remember who it was. It was a famous runner. He was like I can't remember the meterage, but one of these track runners. It was a long one. I can't remember how long, 800 meters? No, I don't remember. But he used to win over and over again, and they interviewed him, and they said, what is your secret? Right? Mm-hmm. And he said, my secret is very, very simple. He said, when a runner runs, your physical body uses up energy, right? Mm-hmm. Uses up a lot of energy. But I discovered, and I can't remember how he discovered it. He may have done it spontaneously, or his coach taught him. I can't remember. But he said, I discovered that when everybody in 10 men running, that point arrives, you can see their bodies giving up, right? You can see the body slowing down. And he said, I discovered that when you reach that point that I can't go another step and I can't push myself any further, when you feel it deep down and you can't do it anymore, your body can. You actually can. It's just that your body tells you that 10 minutes before it actually does collapse. Right?
Yeah. When it collapses is when it can.
Exactly.
Not before then.
So what he discovered is that when he felt that moment, he knew that everybody around him within a few seconds would start feeling that too. And that's when he used to do the last push. And he used to push through that energy, and he knew that his body had it in him. And he went for it, and then he would push out and leave everybody behind and win. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That was his secret. And that's the exact same secret that many people who succeed do. It's like they come to the I'm done moment.
Yep.
But instead of giving up and stopping, they give that massive push forward.
Yeah, the I'm done is a bell to, okay, keep going harder. Now's the time
Now's
to
the
push.
time to push really hard.
You've got it. You're
got
so
it.
close.
You're so close. You got it. You got this. And that's why people who succeed, people who are like great manifestors, or they create their fantastic lives, or people who are extremely successful in business, and all these type of things that we see on the planet, that's why they're there, and the majority of this population of the planet isn't. Because they've learned these things.
They've been trained to listen to the stop.
Exactly. But also, there's other things, like success doesn't happen in isolation. Right? And a lot of people think, oh, I need to meditate on my own for 20 hours a day or whatever, and then I'll become enlightened. I can tell you that it might happen, maybe, right? But one person enlightened on the planet is useless. For the split, for creating a high-frequency reality on Earth. What you need is 2.8 billion people to reach that level of enlightenment. So what does that mean? It means good counsel and good allies. We need to become allies of each other on the planet to succeed. Okay? So as this energy comes through, this is a wake-up call for us to unite, right? And to start co-creating that beautiful, peaceful, illness-free and fear-free future that is so close to us. People saw it in 2050. That's only what?
30 years.
29 years from now, right? That's nothing. That's nothing.
It's nothing. No.
Because you can imagine if that's like already settled and established and good in 29 years. To become that established, it has to be created like 20 years before, right? At least. Which leaves us with how many years?
To what?
29 years minus 20? 9 years.
That's not much.
That isn't much at all.
No, it ain't much at all.
Right? So don't give up now, right? But become the guardian of those energies. You become a guardian of your energy. Become very, very tuned in to what you are adding energy to, what you're feeding.
Yeah, be very, very guarded of your frequency.
Yes.
That's your sole job.
That's what you came here to do.
Should be tattooed on your hand or something. Pretend it is, I guess. Write it with a pen.
Yeah.
Guard your frequency.
Sharpie.
Don't engage. Don't engage in low frequency.
Yeah.
Just don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't engage in low frequency stuff. Only feed the high frequency stuff.
Right. Of course, there's invitations.
All the time.
They're called invitations to engage.
Yeah.
And
choose them carefully.
Your open doors
are
open doors to low frequency engagements. Yeah. Close those.
Yeah, close those.
If you're drinking alcohol, probably best to
stop.
If you're taking mind-altering substances to try to avoid engagements and realities, probably best to stop.
Yeah.
How about we pause?
We'll pause now. So, because our truck's here with our shed, we're getting a shed delivered.
Well, we're back.
From our little break that lasted.
Well, it lasted overnight. I thought about an hour. Drop off the shed. Oh my gosh, that shed is really so nice.
It's very nice.
It feels so solid.
It is, yeah.
It contributes so much to our space.
Yes.
It's a little thing, but it makes a huge difference.
It does, yeah.
That's kind of what I think we were talking about, guarding your frequency. Yeah. That's one of the ways you bring in the things that support you. Uh-huh. And probably don't bring in the things that don't support you. I guess that's pretty clear, right? That's somewhat obvious.
I don't know about that.
You think how obvious?
Didn't you say earlier, we were talking about something, and earlier you said, okay, you can tell somebody, you need to drink water, you need to drink water, you need to drink water.
Yes.
But then they go and drink from a poisoned well.
It's like, oh my gosh, you got to be so specific
So
sometimes.
specific sometimes. Do not drink poisoned water, just clean, clear water.
Clean, clear, structured water.
There you go.
With good intentions. Hydrogenated. Yeah. So that's a lot of details, but that is an important thing. I mean, I found that people, myself included, obviously, and PB, and definitely Brad, I can say something and that means something to me. But they hear it and they assign a different meaning to that thing. Water.
Yeah.
Water could be like, open up the tap and drink the water. Mm-hmm. And might not be better than no water.
Yeah. Ocean water?
Ocean water, yeah. That PB does. Romeo usually does that. He runs straight for the ocean, takes a big, huge drink. Runs around the beach, you know.
Not a good
Not in a good shape.
Not in a good shape, yeah.
They usually try to take him to the river first so he can do that. But he still gets confused every time.
Yeah.
But really with water, drink water. What does that mean? Does it mean any water? No.
No. So when we say, for example, get yourself a tribe, work with others, make yourself supported and supportive, it doesn't mean surround yourself in codependency with all sorts of sick people or needy people that are going to drain the life out of you.
That you can help.
But you can help and get satisfaction from helping others.
So you can basically create a codependency network of a bunch of sick people that you need to help.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
That's probably not the best. Not to say that you walk into the kitchen and you see your partner or your friends are got a headache and say, hey, I know what helps that. And then you suggest it and they say, oh yeah, you're right. This helps. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's not the same.
No, it's not the same.
But it could be interpreted that way. I'm sure there would be a comment or two. Well, don't help nobody. No, of course not help anybody. Support each other.
Exactly, that's the difference. Support each other. We have had several conversations about, being there for your friends doesn't mean that you're going to be there only when we're in trouble.
Right. But it doesn't mean don't be there either.
No, it doesn't mean don't be there when they're in trouble. But that's not the exclusivity, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess it's important to be specific, but at the same time, how specific is necessary, because at some level of specificity, you're going to lose the meaning of the message. So that's kind of why I think they invented this thing called packets of telepathic information communication. Mm-hmm. So you can telepathically communicate the entirety of the message in a packet.
Yeah.
And you don't have to use words to try to specify it enough, because actually the words are designed in some way for separation. So we're talking about this instead of just packeting it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That means it supports, the language part supports the separation.
Yeah.
Because the information is subject to interpretation beyond and above the amount of detail that I could give you in words. Mm-hmm. Because the language is specifically shortened and truncated version of transmitting information.
Totally, yeah. I mean, you've heard of the Tower of Babel, right?
I have heard that, and I remember reading about that story. I was like, that didn't make no sense to me. Right? And then it did.
Yeah.
Because it creates a lot of things.
Yeah.
Different languages, separation between people, even in the same area that speak different languages.
Yeah. And do you remember the reason why, quote, God or gods, unquote, created language and separated the people? Do you remember why?
Probably so that they'd have to go to God to talk or learn or know or something.
From what I remember, the story was that humans got together to build a tower to reach heaven.
Oh yeah, to reach heaven.
Or to
stop them from being able to work together.
Right. Or to reach the kingdom of God or something like that. Yeah. I can't remember the details. But then God or gods decided, we can't let him do that, so what we're going to do is we're going to make them all speak different languages so they can't work together.
That fixed it.
Yeah,
It's been working ever since.
Yeah.
Still, that has the, that obviously is a little bit of a victim story.
Well,
creating victims and what's not, but
why would you allow another, whatever people have power over you, right?
Because you want to.
In the first place.
Because you want to.
Because we decided as a species thousands of years ago to have a like that paradigm and to have the illusion of separation, and that includes not being able to communicate with each other in a proper way. I call it the natural language of the universe. I call experiential telepathy. That's my own words. That's what I called it. Other people call it different things, and usually they try to explain it. It's not like words. It's like a whole experience, or it's downloaded into a person, right?
Yep.
All the data and information and everything around it is suddenly in your mind. That's
pretty excellent. Mm-hmm. So our topic for this podcast was your Monday newsletter about October. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting that he's written this, and I'm looking at some of the people that I, watch on TV. It's not TV, obviously.
Your streaming channels.
Yeah.
Podcasts and streaming channels.
My TV is a computer that sits on the wall. It looks just like a TV, but in fact, it's a giant iPad, I guess. Anyway, October being a month where a lot of information becomes available to everyone. Wake, asleep, doesn't matter. Yeah. And it's the face of it, the release and clear understanding of what's happening, right? Mm-hmm. It seems like that should be great. That should be a good thing. Yeah. But even that can be used as a weapon. Mm-hmm. So,
I've seen and perceived different reactions from people, awake, aware people, compassionate people, loving people, and they're awake and using the tools and very aware of what's happening on the planet. And when I tell them that this wave that there's happening, what the next stage is that the truth is going to be revealed to everybody on the planet in a way they can understand it. It doesn't matter whether they're asleep or awake or whatever, but the plan and the agenda and everything behind the jabs and everything is being delivered. Let people know the truth. And people, all these individuals, have reacted in 2 different ways.
I imagine 2 ways.
Some of them have said, finally, oh my God, thank goodness, oh God, I'm so tired of it all. And I'm so glad that finally everybody's going to find out. And it's just about time and it's just over. I'm so glad. And other people react, oh my God, that's terrible, horrible. How could they be so cruel as to tell everybody what's going on? It's just not right. Why would they do that? It's just terrible. It's going to make so much suffering. I mean, can you imagine how they're going to feel, knowing that they injured themselves and their children, or even their patients, that they've killed thousands, if not millions of people? How are they going to, that's horrible. Why would they release this information? Very, very different reaction to the information.
Right, from the perspective of, I think, the victim or the not victim. Mm-hmm. And some of them I've heard you tell this too, and they've gone, ooh, wow, that's going to have a huge impact on the frequency of reality because of XYZ, Mm-hmm. So there's a third.
Who said that?
Our friend yesterday. When you shared the article, and she read it, and she's like, oh my God, that's going to have a huge impact on the frequency of people.
Yeah.
She saw it exactly clear. Exactly as you, I think, intended to express it. Mm-hmm. But I thought the same thing too, which was when I first read that newsletter, I thought, first was, phew, it's about time. And then, oh, wait a minute. That's a little bit like when you tell someone, hey, guess what? You just injected yourself with poison on purpose. And all those other people, you did that to them too. It's like, well, geez, how are they going to feel?
Yeah.
Traumatized for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's like shocking.
Mm-hmm.
So then I realized that, oh, if that's really one of the feelings in the majority of us people, or we're led to believe at least the majority of people have that, going to be having that experience, what effect is that going to have on the planet as a whole, you know? It's like, whoa, that's going to be a giant shock.
Mm-hmm.
But it's information that we've known since basically the first month or couple of weeks.
The very beginning, yeah.
Well, you from the very beginning. It took a couple of weeks for me to catch on. Because, you know...
You were still killing viruses for a month or two.
I was still killing viruses for a month or two. And then making sure there were none, even if there are none.
Yes.
Well, even if they were an incorrect interpretation of the data.
Yeah.
And then clarifying the data. No harm. But, yeah, the effect on the... Which is kind of what I sensed. At some point, there's going to be something strong enough to shatter the two realities between each other, you know, that it can't just... It feels like it just can't just slowly build and build and build and build, and then a little more here, a little more there, and then there's a whistleblower here and a whistleblower there. It's like almost an avalanche and a crack. Mm-hmm. A dimensional crack. Mm. Something intense enough emotionally to cause a dimensional crack.
Right.
So then I realized that has the potential to do that for sure.
It definitely does, yeah. At least one of many.
Yep. Oh my. At least one of many.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, I think it was in 2019, yeah? You said batten down the hatches.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that?
Uh-huh. Yes.
And at the time, I remember hearing you say batten down the hatches, there's a storm coming, thinking, what could that possibly be? But we battened down the hatches.
We did.
And we never ran out of toilet paper. We didn't even know toilet paper was a thing.
I know, we didn't. We totally bypassed it.
We already had our stores of the stuff that we needed. And, you know, I know we got less than a soft toilet paper stash.
Yeah, because I remember we were about to have an event.
Yeah, we needed a pile.
And we went to the store to get more toilet paper because when we have an event at the Shaman Shack, we go through about 3 or 4 bags of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Like massive bags.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. So we went to get that for our event and there was no toilet paper. It's like, what the hell's going on? And then we heard all about the toilet paper thing. Yeah. Oh my God, now it happens when we're having an event, really? So we bought some really hard, like, public toilet paper that's really tough. And we said, okay, so at least we have toilet paper for the event. And we took that and took it home. And then we found more toilet paper somewhere else, some store, I can't remember which one. We bought that for the event. And we went through all the bags that we got from the other store, which we had to pay a lot of money for, I remember, through the event. And we never dug in, and, you know, we never touched the tough stuff, and it's still there.
It's still there. We still have it. We can start fires with it.
Yeah.
We can scrub pots and pans with it.
You could possibly, yeah.
We can polish the metal.
Metal
polishing,
yeah.
We could probably use it as a coffee filter. Sandpaper. Very good sandpaper, yeah. So we're stocked.
Yeah.
So October feels similarly structured, where batten down the hatches wouldn't be a bad idea. Mm-hmm. In other words, you know, have yourself a couple weeks or so of the things that you like.
And it's really for the comfort of your physical body.
Because engaging with people who are in high, extremely low frequency states of reaction, basically, which is what we'll be seeing. Yeah. That's not going to be comfortable for you.
No, it's not.
That was kind of why I think you said we should have built our own structures for food, housing,
work,
education, so that you're not engaging with those groups.
Right.
You're engaging with the other groups.
Exactly, yeah.
For your things that you do. The things that you do all the time.
Right.
That you want to do all the time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and so guarding and panicking. Panicking is when you're out and you go and there's none and you can't get any.
Mm-hmm.
Guarding is I'm either stalked or there are 7 alternatives to this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to go to this one place to get that thing.
We have plenty of leaves in the trees.
There's that place over there. There's this place
creek.
over here. There's that. There's the shower.
Yeah.
The water stops there. There's the creek. There's the lake.
Yeah.
There's
you can clean your ass somehow.
you can clean your ass somehow. The point being,
it's no big deal.
It's no big deal, whatever.
Yeah.
No matter what happens,
yeah.
no matter how it happens, the only big deal is
how you feel about it
and fear.
Yeah.
You don't
and
do
why
that,
is it
and you're all good.
important? And why is it so important and relevant how you feel?
Gosh, I guess it's very important and relevant to explain why, again, it's important and relevant what you feel. Because your frequency is the only reason you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Your frequency is lowered when you're in panic and fear.
Yep.
And your awareness is shrunk,
mm-hmm.
tightened down,
mm-hmm.
so that you can no longer, respond to, on purpose, you no longer respond to stimulants
mm-hmm.
because you're in this state of being that your body is in to protect it best.
Yeah.
And generally it's been taught that don't listen and don't feel pain. Don't listen and don't see panic and fear, whatever, don't see this stuff, this, that, and the other. Focus on preservation, run, or fight, or whatever. If your arm gets slashed, you're not going to go, oh my God, I need stitches, I need antibiotics, I need that. You're going to be like, I don't care. Fight, 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 right? That's fight and flight. That's panic. Bodies do that on purpose for
mm-hmm.
preservation, and it worked, I suppose, good. But we're not in that place. But we're in a place where it could be simulated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that simulation is going to tend to bring you to a narrow spot. And you've been, no matter what, pre-programmed with suggestions mm-hmm. over the last few decade or so, mm-hmm. at least, that's going to squirt you in a direction. If you're in react, you're going to get squirted towards get the injection, for example. You're going to be squirted towards turn in the people that are killing everybody. Mm-hmm. You're going to be squirted towards things that have been presupposed into your brain.
Yep.
If you're in reaction instead of
response,
you're going to do what you know you shouldn't do mm-hmm. right now mm-hmm. in the state of mind that you're in. You're going to do what you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. So don't get into that state. Don't panic. Process your fear. Mm-hmm. Then respond so that you do what you've intended to do and why you're here, what you're here to do. Yeah?
Yep.
Is that the why? There's more?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more.
Why is it so important that we do not feed fear or anger, righteousness, those energies? Why is it so important that we don't feed those feelings?
Besides you're lowering your frequency?
Besides because you're lowering your frequency.
Well, I would like to hear what you say.
You don't remember, huh?
Of course I remember, honey.
Okay.
Hold on. I got to take care of this cat. Kitty. You need to scratch. I can't talk and scratch. Just tell us, honey. Tell us.
Oh, my goodness. Because feelings create reality.
Oh, yeah. Feelings create reality.
So do you want to feed the beast that's creating fear on the planet? No.
Along with 6 billion others?
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Uh-uh.
No, because that's where you're going to end up.
Exactly.
Don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to feed that reality.
You did not come here to create that reality.
No, you did
Honestly.
not. You did not.
That was not what you came to do.
No.
You can be talked into it, though.
Yes. And tricked into it.
And tricked into it, and coerced into it, and scared into it. Yeah. Just like angel's eyes.
Yeah.
An angel's eyes, what are you going to do when an angel looks you in the face? Mm-hmm. And you look into his eyes, and what do you see?
COVID.
What are you going to do?
exactly. What are you going to do?
Laugh or cry?
Run away.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. And turn around and take your injection on the butt.
You're going to get it in the butt. That don't sound good, honey. Pretty sure it goes in the arm.
No, they've been injecting people in the butt too, haven't they?
I'm sure they have.
Yeah,
I don't know.
on the butt cheek.
I don't know.
I know.
Oh,
it was very strong language to give over a feeling of this is what's happening.
Right.
It's very descriptive.
Right. You're pre-warned.
Pre-warned.
So you're prepared.
Yes.
So that you can be guardian
of your energies.
Which means things go around, you're not shaken. Mm-hmm. You know what to do.
Yeah, so the past few days, but also last week, we've heard about, in one of our favorite podcasts, the guy who's been doing like himself. He's very frustrated because he said he's done everything that you can possibly do to protect his body from getting sick.
Yep.
Right? And now
all
he's
the vitamins, all
everything,
this and that,
water
and
blah, 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 blah,
and the
blah.
special hydrogen
special
gas,
food and work and
detox
exercise and detoxing. And then he gets really, really sick with very strong flu-like symptoms.
Yep.
Right?
And he's so pissed.
He's angry because it's like, I've done everything, so why am I sick? Right?
Well, he didn't do a couple of things.
What?
He didn't move out of the city, for one.
Right. Did he process his fear?
Did not process his fear, no. And he did definitely expose himself to whatever it is in a huge way without...
The poisons, the toxins.
I mean, without connecting, even though he's heard, connecting the flushing of your system equals sick to flushing of your system equals expelling toxin and support the expression of and expelling of toxins. Because he's in a toxic environment and he's had a lot of toxins built up. Plus, doing healing and detoxing and rebuilding and regeneration processes, which means the things that have been stuck for 10 or 20 or however 30 years, they're getting released also. And that isn't a comfortable thing, but it doesn't mean you're sick. Right. Equating that to sick is one of the big first lies.
Right. And we have a friend of ours, right, who his health has been really bad for decades now.
Very compromised.
Yeah, very compromised health, and very many times we've received the call of he's nearly dead, And it's always been some sort of external thing. It's poison, heavy metals,
EMFs.
Yeah, EMF, or it's some sort of parasite,
food, or the people.
The people, and this time, when this crisis happened for him, it's COVID.
Well, it's one of his healers, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So one of his healers, many healers that he goes to get therapy from, called him and said, I've been tested positive for COVID. And then he instantly gets very, 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 very sick.
Yeah.
What would you say that's about? Knowing that COVID does not exist and knowing his history, what would you say that's about?
I would say that it's the same as our other friend, or the other fellow that we listened to. He's in a toxic environment, surrounded by and exposed to what's basically known as shedding. What is getting shed, I can't say the particle or what, but it definitely is something that affects you and you can feel. And if you're in that environment steadily always, and it's cumulative, slowly, but you're always in it, you're going to not notice it until it gets to what I would call a extreme state of toxification. Right. In which case an extreme flush is going to be necessary. So when you're in that extreme flush, it can, if you support the narrative, basically, it can take you out. If you got diarrhea and you don't replace the fluids, you can die.
Yeah, that's true. So, you,
yes,
right? The past few days,
yes,
or about 2-3 days ago, whatever's, you were perfectly fine one moment, and the next you got very ill, right?
I didn't feel good. I wasn't like, I was at the state of I was feeling like, you know what you should do? You should go lay in bed and do nothing. Just stop.
Did you?
No.
So what happens?
Well, I just did the things that I was going to do and didn't feel very well. And then I went and popped some aspirins because I was having this headache. And then I thought about getting some silver spray, but I never did it.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you tell people, get that silver spray all over you and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
That'll fix your energy.
Fix your whatever it is.
Right.
But I didn't think it was that.
Right.
Of course.
Of course. So what did you think it was?
I thought it was, I was dehydrated or something. I have a headache from not drinking water or something like that. Or I don't know. I just sometimes wake up with a headache. So, like I said, I took some aspirin and I drank some water. And then the headache diminished and I went about my day. It was always there. It was still there. Coffee tasted yucky. And I thought coffee might help it. And it didn't do it. I was trying all of these. These usually help me. This usually helps me.
Did you take all the vitamins, minerals?
Yeah, I took all the vitamins. I took some vitamin D's. I took some C, natural C. I took A, D, and K. I didn't get no chaga tea, but I was thinking about, well, maybe I should have one of these chagas, but nothing was tasting good. Everything tasted like, and everything I drank or ate made my head even feel worse. It didn't like relieve it. And then I started to get a stomach ache too. I was like, golly, nothing's working. What's going on here? And then you found me. What is the first thing you did? Huh?
I sprayed you with the silver.
Sprayed all over my face like,
You're running away.
And then my head and my mouth. I was like dosed in silver spray.
Years.
And then
Back of the head.
It felt like an electrical tension was released. Instant almost. Instant of the spray, it was like a shock. It's like lightning.
Crack.
Crack. It felt like a crack. It was an electrical tension release feeling. And the not feeling good, the headache, all of that stuff, it went...
Less?
Oh, yeah. Much less. My inside said, oh, that was it. And my body caught up. It took a few minutes. It wasn't instant from an all day of carrying around this feeling of terrible. Went away like 1 second. But it was a definite crack. A definite knowing, oh, that was it. And a release of... The only words that I have is electric tension. Some form of tension that was artificially or somehow built up on my body. Yeah.
But since then, right? Since then, you have still been running fevers. So what do you think that's about?
I don't feel no fevers.
Well, you have.
No. I don't have one.
Yes, you do.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine. I went and voted yesterday, remember? And he stuck the thermometer up to me and said, oh, you're good.
Oh, you were at that moment, yeah. Because that's what I said, recurring, not like constant, right?
Okay.
But your
Flashes
body...
of it?
Yeah, so you still... What do you think that's about when you suddenly get...
It's
like
got
the
to be the
temperature
same
goes
thing.
up and...
It's somewhere, somehow, the electric tension energy is being applied. And so it needs to be...
Reset.
Cleaned, re-cleared, reset, grounded.
Yeah. So my other question would be, why you?
Because of everybody. Everybody gets it.
Not everybody.
Why not?
Exactly.
I don't know why me.
So would you say that your body's strong and you've never had a vaccine in your life?
No, I've had plenty. I was in the military. They got me, and they said, which vaccines have you had? And I said, not quite sure. Probably all of them. I said, do you have any records of them? No? I said, all right, this line. Like, I think I should have answered that question differently. And then I walk in, and I'm in Los Angeles, and there's a giant, huge, massive military entrance MEPS, they called it. I don't know what the PNS is, I forgot. But I'm walking forward, and I see in front of me these 2 rows of doctor, nurse, whatever, medical peoples in their lab camouflage with these guns. And the guy in front of me, he's got a gun on both arms. And then he walks forward, and the next guy,
Both
and
arms.
the next one. It was like
arms.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at once.
Yeah.
My arm literally felt like it was going to fall off, both of them, and there's huge lumps. So no, I've been vaccinated to the 10th degree.
Okay, so one of the things that we have to understand is that vaccines have been propagated, promoted, and sent and sold to the population for decades now.
Yep.
Decades, right?
Yeah.
I myself am extremely vaccine damaged, my physical body extremely compromised because of it, to growing up receiving so many vaccinations over and over and over again. And I didn't understand any of this until extremely recently. Very, very recently. Even we vaccinated our pets thinking we were protecting them, right?
For the same reason people are doing it now, so they could travel.
Yeah.
Which we never did.
We never did, right. And we damaged them, and two of them died. Fiona died of it, those...
and Brad.
Yeah, and Brad.
Theodora's still sick from it.
Yeah. So we know these things right now, but then we didn't. But here's the thing. This agenda with the pandemic right now, it didn't just start. It's being carried out for decades and decades. Decades and decades, generation after generation of people have been jabbed with things that compromise their health. That's all it does. It doesn't protect you from anything. All it does is damage your body. All of these vax.
Yeah.
All of the jabs.
Because
damage your body. For generations now, we've been damaging our bodies. As a collective. Human collective. We as a human collective have been damaging our bodies. Generation after generation. We have been damaging our bodies. And the question is, why? Now, when all these new fields of energy and frequencies and the latest jab, all of that is designed for one thing.
To tune you to a different thing. Or what?
To damage you.
To
kill you.
Yeah.
Right? Slowly, gradually. You see, social engineers, they don't work from the perspective of next year we're going to do X, Y, Z. They work hundreds of years ahead, sometimes thousands of years ahead. Right? That's what they do. And to have a population of powerful, strong, awakened individuals is very dangerous for the light-dark paradigm. Because it no longer functions. Because people would laugh at them.
Their natural frequency.
Because people would laugh at them thinking, what? You're telling me that you're my authority and you're more powerful than me?
And I gotta do what you say?
That's ridiculous. Go away. Right?
Totally absurd.
Exactly. So, for that to not happen, what they do is damage the population. Mentally, physically, energetically, damage that population. And it's been happening for decades. Right? Yeah. And now they're really strongly sending out these frequencies through all the technologies that you can find in the patents office, right? There's lots of technology to be able to manipulate the population. And that's what they're doing. Now, you are receiving and you have heavy toxins and heavy metals in your body through all those vaccinations, and so do I. That's why we're highly affected every time any of these waves come through. Right? And some people haven't had that damage. Or, they've taken the damage control and the medications, the homeopathy and everything to reverse that damage. Like, they've taken it. And it will help. It does help. Mm-hmm. It's not going to completely reverse all the damage, but it does help. Right? I've heard of one guy whose mom was obsessed with getting him vaccinated, and every time he played in the yard and, cut his finger in a rose or whatever, she would rush him to the ER and get him a tetanus vaccination growing up. He had dozens of them. At age 17, he was completely autistic, right? Completely disconnected from reality. He was completely unable to function in reality. And he started keeping a journal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he learned about this vaccination thing, and in his mind he thought, maybe I can reverse this.
Yeah, detox from it.
Yeah, so he took all the protocols, the homeopathy, the food one, the
Clay,
all sorts
probably,
of different, the what?
Bentonite clay or
All sorts of things. He did
distilled
all
water.
sorts of things. Yeah, he did that and all sorts of different things. And one day he woke up and he was able to look at somebody in the eyes. Right? And the next day, weeks later, he was able to do something else. And then something else. Right? And then one day he was able to live on his own. Get a job. And function. Slowly he pulled himself out of it. I don't know if he's like completely able, capable, strong individual, physically and emotionally, mentally. Right? I don't know how it evolved from that. But he made a radical change just from fixing the vaccine damage.
Wow.
So, to me, it feels like these waves are coming through the planet. These are energetic waves, emotional waves, but also, a lot of shedding from people who are, their bodies are exuding those chemicals that they're producing through the effect of those vaccinations, those jabs, the COVID ones. And they're affecting other people around them, right? Those people is not the same as getting a vaccination. They won't get the same damage, and they will not become a factory of those negative nanobots, right?
Right.
They're not going to do that. But the body will react to a poison, a toxin.
Right.
It will do it. So that's a fever, that's feeling unwell, headaches.
Nausea even, runs, things like that.
Things like that, right? It will happen.
Because it's trying to detox it.
Exactly. And especially if you are damaged through vaccinations from the past, it'll happen.
All right.
So that's things to take into consideration. And it's like, I've done everything, and, I've taken the Brown's gas, and I've taken all the vitamins, and but every time that somebody gets sick and I say, are you keeping up with your vitamins, or did you do it as soon as you feel unwell? It's weird, but a lot of people say, oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Right? So that is really strange. That is very strange.
Well, it's weird that I didn't do the silver, honestly.
Yeah. And, somebody whose kid hasn't been vaccinated, and they're about 4 years old, and he got sick, he got like a really bad cold. It's very strong, very unwell, high fever and everything. And the mom was like, what's going on? I didn't vaccinate him. Why is he sick?
Yeah.
Right? I haven't taken him anywhere. He's not been, affected by what this and this, and why is he sick? And, if you want to learn about what these expressions of our bodies are, why they come about, why do people get like chickenpox, or what we call chickenpox-like effects, or flu-like effects, or colds, read the medical books by Dr. Cohen and others, the ones that he recommends, because they explain it in a way that actually makes sense.
It does make sense.
Right? It makes sense.
It makes more sense than what we've been told. Previously been told.
Little creatures are invisible, called viruses, and they kill you, Do bacteria exist? I'm sure they do. Yes, they do. But are they all evil? No, we've already learned that. We've already learned that as a society. You don't kill the positive bacteria from your gut, for example. We learned that, right? Are there parasites? Yeah, there certainly are parasites on the planet.
Most definitely. And incidentally, when your body is in a toxified state, then the parasites show up to clean the things.
Yeah.
They're part of the process of cleaning up the toxins and whatnot. When your body can't do it itself because it's overtoxed.
Right.
It's like it goes through these stages of.
Yeah.
So the
and sometimes
parasites,
it's so bad that the parasites
Well, the
Well, they
parasites exude
stuff, and that can kill a person.
Yeah,
right?
that stuff
because
is
it's
bad
so
for
much.
you too.
So it's a hot balance. Everything's out of balance, you're not going to be well. So I'll ask you again. What's out of balance, Larry? What's going on?
I guess I need some more in my life.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. When's the last time you meditated?
Just a moment ago. You heard me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably could be it.
Where am I not connecting is usually the question I ask myself, and also where am I out of balance? Where's the imbalance? And if you do that, even question that to your body, where's the imbalance? Your body will tell you right away, usually.
Yeah. Here's answers. Mine answered real fast.
Yeah? What did he say?
You just told me. I just told you too.
Right.
A little more meditation would be nice.
Right. The frequency, right? You've been involved and infused in a lot of low frequency stuff the past few weeks.
Right.
And it does have an effect on you.
Mm-hmm. I'm made out of stainless steel, but still, even stainless steel can
rust actually and stain.
Actually rust sometimes.
Yeah.
It takes a long time and a lot of stuff, but it does.
Stuff, yeah. Anyways.
I think we're going for a bike ride to the most wonderful beach on the planet.
That sounds nice.
One that you've never been to.
I've never been to that one.
And we're going to go on that bike ride with our high frequency friends.
Okay.
Who have guaranteed us not to be shedding on us.
Oh, and there's somebody at the door. Do you feel complete, honey?
Well, as a matter of fact, I do.
Perfect. Love you.
I can't wait to go to the beach. I love you, babe.